So I would like to introduce you to 265532. Now, this is actually a game that actually technically has two cheaters in it. So we have our current player here, which, like I said before, stats don't really matter and come to this. However, it is a account with around 1,400 battles total on it in the last month. Here, 52% win rate. 2,500 kills in the last month, and 114 air kills, and a kind of mediocre sort of win rate or statistics, battles, and whatever. Granted, win rate and stuff like that are really effectively tied to a single player. Whatever. So, like I said, he's not exactly that good, at least according to this, but he is a cheater. And like I said, in the last month, he's gotten over 2,000 kills. The other player who's actually technically cheating in this game is our friend, Chinese GG, whatever you want to call it. 40,000 battles, at least in realistic, as total. But he's a naval botter. Pretty easy to look at that when you see kill death ratios that high that are all naval sided stuff. So there's where they got all their SL, because that's what they do with all their SL stuff. And then he also has A10. So a lot of these guys have A10 records like this that are either he likes playing the A10 that much, or he's, got a whatever record. So these two guys in specifically. So the thing about that, though, is that according to Gaijin, unless he's cheating right now, they won't ban him, even though his record looks that ridiculous. So he got away with all his SL cheating by using naval botting, and Gaijin won't ban them now because of the way that the game works. You also notice that I took a couple of days off. I've said before that this game, at least recently for me, has become kind of stale. I got recently into DCS, and I've been having an absolute blast with it because I have a couple friends who like playing DCS. I also have a couple other games that I've been kind of try because obviously the Steam Summer Sale just happened, and I wanted to actually play games that seemed useful to me. Also, so there was a discussion that I've seen on the forums going around that this game is becoming really stale for veteran players, and I would say that's effectively true. At least I know Steam isn't a good metric because I know not everyone plays on Steam, but I found a couple metrics that if you look at, so the current average players in game is around 120,000. Based on just looking at the game during peak hours, which tends to be at like my time. I'm trying to think of like time frame wise. I would say my time probably around noon, maybe. I'm not exactly sure total, but I've seen 110 to 120,000 players on average if I'm looking at a game specifically. So in terms of game, okay, well, I'll give you a great example. In terms of Steam, since February, so February's peak was 70,000 players on Steam. Our current average is around 55,000. So in that regard, that is a 20,000-ish gap in. It's like a 25,000 gap in player count. So in that regard, if that is the case, then that means that we've lost 20% of the player base just from people not playing, granted, according to Steam. So that is the general consensus of when you see stuff like that. So if that's the case, then this game effectively has lost a lot of its player base, at least according to Steam. In general, I would say the game has lost quite a bit of popularity in the last, I don't know, last year or so. I would say probably since February, where all the new fancy stuff that we've started getting, I would say has lost the most interest because of the way that works. Gaijin really is trying to press the whole future air stuff, and it's losing a lot of player interest because I prefer playing, anything 8.7 and lower because I find 8.7 and lower incredibly fun. Modern stuff, I just don't see as being sustaining. It might be according to their metrics, but I would just, based on numbers, I don't think the hype is there anymore. Obviously, the F-16 and everything got a bunch of hype, and then, if they add the F-18 or whatever, it'll probably have some more hype as well. But Gaijin really needs to look at some better metrics because I really don't see the game holding up with modern stuff in the long run. If it does, that's great. I just don't see it. Based on just numbers alone, I would almost bet that that is just not something that is sustainable in very much a short-term or long-term basis. I'm sure it's gonna. They get their big money where they sell T80 UEs and all this one stuff as these one-off checks that they write, but I really don't see it being good in the long run. As for the cheater issue that we're going to deal with, I think it's pretty steady right now. The good thing that I've seen Gaijin do recently is there's a lot of these guys that keep trying to advertise their cheats on YouTube. Gaijin is DMCAing these channels pretty consistently. Essentially, if the video gets to about 150 to 300 views, it will be basically immediately DMCA'd by Gaijin. That's the only thing I've seen them do recently that's good in regards to preventing cheating being going out. But if they're spending any time doing that, then they should go after the Discord channels that are selling these cheats in the first place. Or better yet, do like what the Chinese player did and go in there, get the code of it, and then ban the players using it. If they do that, that'd be great. If not, you know, who knows. So this guy obviously is pretty much done at this point. You saw at the very beginning how blatantly obvious his cheats were, and the fact that he's killed almost 3,000 players in the last month just using his cheats. As always, if you have a player in question, try to follow my guide below in the pinned comment, and please try to leave me as the template as suggested right there. And as always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, evening, or night, and have a good one.